Hey everyone, I've got a lot of spare time right at the moment, so I thought I'd do another video before I do my May wrap up. This is the fun book survey which I saw on Tree Reads channel, and she actually got it from Kaylee Hyde's Blogspot. It was not specifically a tag video, but I decided I would tag myself and do it, so if you would like to do this survey, go ahead, sure, I tag you, whatever. And it's over 50 questions, so I'm going to try to speed through as quickly as possible. Number 1, favorite childhood book. Ooh, probably Harry Potter if that counts, even though I was 12 when I started it. If you're going to stay younger, it was always the Babysitter's Club series, and I also really like the Forever Angel series. 2, what are you reading right now? I am reading Dragonwyck by Anya Seton, and I started it like last week, and I misplaced it somewhere in my house, so I only got a few chapters in, and I had to end up reading another book because I have to find that one before I can finish it. 3, what books do you have on request at the library? Nothing. I do not really use the library at all. I haven't been to the library in years. 4, bad book habit. This has always been buying way too many books before I can read them and spending too much money that I should be saving. 5, what do you currently have checked out at the library? Nothing, because I don't go to the library. 6, do you have an e-reader? Yes, I have the Kobo Touch. 7, do you prefer to read one book at a time or several at once? Generally one book, but there have been occasions where I will read a couple more. 8, have your reading habits changed since starting a blog? I read a lot more. I don't use my blog really more. I haven't written on it in like months, but I feel like I've read more in the past couple of years. I don't really think it has anything to do with my blog though. Number 9, least favorite book you've read this year so far? Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. Hated that book. 10, favorite book you've read this year? 11, how often do you read out of your comfort zone? I try to every few books, like maybe 3 or 4 books, to read something different and not just read all Agatha Christie's and dystopians. Especially in April, I read a lot of paranormal romances, and some were pretty good and others were not that great. Number 12, what is your reading comfort zone? The detective novels and YA, and particularly fantasy and dystopians are my favorite. 13, can you read on the bus? I haven't been on the bus in a while, but yes, I can read in cars and stuff like that. Usually I have to make the time go by. 14, favorite place to read? In bed, I guess, but really anywhere with a book is a good place to read for me. 15, what is your policy on book lending? I don't have a policy. I occasionally lend books to people, but it's not very often because not too many of my friends really like to read, and the few that do, we don't have similar tastes. And then one friend who does like a lot of the same books as me, she will usually only read on her Kindle, so I don't really need to lend to her. 16, do you ever dog ear books? No. 17, do you ever write in the margins of your books? Never. 18, not even with textbooks? No. 19, what is your favorite language to read? English. For school, I had read a couple French books back in high school. In college, I read just one real, like, actual Japanese book, like one that was actually a novel, and I've read a few Italian books. I've read the whole Harry Potter series in Italian, which I got just to have really like as a collection, but really it's just English. 20, what makes you love a book? Oh, just lots of things. The writing, the characters, the story, just the combination of everything, nothing in particular. 21, what will inspire you to recommend a book? How much I loved it, obviously, or how much I hate something, and if I know someone I know likes these kind of books that I hate, I will recommend the book I did not like to them. 22. Favorite genre? Mystery and fantasy with like subgenres of dystopian underneath fantasy, I guess, and sci-fi as well. 23. Genre you rarely read but wish you did. There's nothing really that I wish I read that I don't. Skip that. 24. Favorite biography? I don't know, I don't read biographies. 25. Have you ever read a self-help book? Yes, in high school I used to read a lot of these, but not anymore at all. 26. Favorite cookbook? I don't know. I generally, the only kinds of cookbooks I look in are for like cupcakes and stuff like that, so I don't know. 27. Most inspirational book you've read this year, fiction or nonfiction? I don't think any of the books I've read this year have inspired me at all, sadly. 28. Favorite reading snack? Well, chocolate and cookies, probably. 29. Name a case in which hype ruined your reading experience. Maybe Twilight, not because I would have liked the books without the hype, but because I was like, it made me just hate them all the more to know how well loved they were when I really did not enjoy them. 30. How often do you agree with critics about a book? I don't know, hit or miss maybe. I don't really read critic reviews. Generally the reviews I read are by just users on Goodreads, so I'm not sure. 31. How do you feel about giving bad/negative reviews? I might feel a little pang of guilt, but honestly I don't care. I just want to give my opinion, and I would not, bash authors or readers or anything like that. But I have no problem with giving negative reviews because I just want to say what I think. 32. If you could read in a foreign language, what language would you choose? Well, I can read in a foreign language, but I wish I could read better in Italian, because I'm not quite a native speaker level of Italian, being that I live in the U.S. And definitely wish my Japanese was fluent. 33. Most intimidating book you've ever read? Yeah, in high school, The Grapes of Wrath. That book was horrible. And then later on, maybe Don Quixote by something Cervantes. That was a big book. 34. Most intimidating book you're too nervous to begin? Clarissa by Samuel Richardson, which I bought quite a few years ago. I don't know why, because I wanted to be like a scholarly reader and read all this old literature. That book is huge. It is huge. It's bigger. It's a Penguin Classic, but it's like taller than the other Penguin Classics, not to mention being so wide and with tiny print. And I never read it, and I don't know if I ever will. 35. Favorite poet? I don't read poetry. 36. How many books do you usually have checked out at the library at any given time? 0. 37. How often have you returned books to the library unread? Never, unless you're talking about in middle school, like when I used the school library. 38. Favorite fictional character? Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. 39. Favorite fictional villain? Voldemort. 40. Books you're most likely to bring on vacation? Whatever I am reading at the time that I go on vacation. 41. The longest you've gone without reading? It's been a few years since I've done this, but probably not more than a month or two. 42. Name a book that you could/would not finish. Some books that I attempted to read in high school for summer reading, where we had choices of books. I never finished The Handmaid's Tale for some reason. There was another one, At Home in Mitford or something like that. There was more, but I don't really remember what they were. 43. What distracts you easily when you're not reading? Noises and people bothering me. 44. Favorite film adaptation of a novel? I love the 2005 Pride and Prejudice, even though a lot of Fans of the book didn't really like that adaptation. I loved it. 45. Most disappointing film adaptation. Ooh, if I had to pick one, I guess it would be the 1999 Patricia Rozema version of Mansfield Park. 46. The most money I've ever spent in the bookstore at one time. Probably $100. 47. How often do you skim a book before reading it? I never really skim a book. Sometimes I'll read the first page of a few books, but I don't really skim them. 49. What would cause you to stop reading a book halfway through? I can no longer stop reading books once I've started them. I have to finish. I used to be able to, but as I got older, I developed this quirk that I just cannot leave a book unfinished. And that's also what is kind of preventing me from reading certain books, because I'm like, oh, if I won't like it, I might be reading it forever, because I know I won't be able to just leave it off. 49. Do you like to keep your books organized? Yes, I do. Unfortunately, my limited bookshelf space has me, like, they're organized by genre and by author, but mainly it's by if I've read them or not. I have certain areas for books I've read and others for books I've not, because I have everything double stacked. It's too much of a hassle to shift through stuff if I had it all perfectly organized the way I would like to. 50. Do you prefer to keep books or give them away once you've read them? Keep. 51. Are there any books you've been avoiding? Yes, there have. Like I said, Clarissa by Samuel Richardson, a couple other classic books that I've had for a long time. Can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now because I don't have all of my books here. 52. Name a book that made you angry. Probably the whole Twilight series, just angry at how popular they were when I just thought they were stupid. And Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, that was really dumb. 53. A book you didn't expect to like but did. Unearthly by Cynthia Hand is the most recent one that comes to mind. 54. A book you expected to like but didn't. Oh, Graceland by Kristen Cashore. 55. Favorite guilt-free pleasure reading. I would not really call any of the books that I read guilty pleasures, so all of my favorite books are guilt-free for me. That concludes this fun book survey. Go ahead and do it if you want. See you later.